What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mindset Mogul podcast. We are your hosts, Bradley Mora and Josh Jacobs, and we are here with another episode of Mindset Mogul. This is our episode 2 in person. Very exciting. Very grateful to be in person with Brad. Grateful to have this mindset to keep us going, and we're going to build something awesome here, and I'm just grateful for that in general. What about you, Brad? What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful to be in Chicago. I get to see my family this week. I get to see old friends. Hard not to be grateful when you get to run it back like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm grateful to have you here, bro. And it's sunny. What more could we ask for?
Sunny in Chicago in spring, not a given.
Yeah, very rare, actually. So that's awesome. All right, well, today we have a Q&A for you. We got a question from Blake. But before we jump in, I just want to say if you get any value from this episode, please leave us a comment on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to our channel. If you are listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, please leave us a review there and follow us there. It would really, really be appreciated. That's how we're going to grow. If you didn't get any value from this episode, you could dislike the episode on YouTube. It's still going to give us engagement, which we would appreciate. But without further ado, let's jump into the question. So today's question is from Blake. It says, "Hi guys, I just turned 30 and all of a sudden I have this overwhelming feeling that time is running out. I have a dream to own my own business and never have to answer to a boss again. Do you have any suggestions to make a quick change?" Blake, thank you so much for this question. This is like one of my favorite questions that we've gotten so far because I relate to this so much because I just turned 31 a couple weeks ago, but when I turned 30, I had this exact same feeling. And to be totally honest with you, I still have this feeling. And it's changed the way that I operate my daily life. I just want to address one thing before we even get into this question. You know, you said, do you have any suggestions to make a quick change? Here's where I'll start. Change is instant. You can change yourself right now instantly. But are you looking for a quick change or are you looking for quick results? Because one of the things that I believe it was Tom Bilyeu said in a podcast that I've stuck with me ever since years ago is, you know, figure out what is in your 10-year plan and figure out a way to take all those actions in 6 months. And basically the point is, how can I be impatient about the action I'm taking? How can I take 10 years worth of action in 6 months? But maybe I still don't expect those results for 10 years. The point is, you have to be impatient about the action you take, but patient about the results coming, because results don't come overnight. Sure, they could, and that would be amazing if you take the action. But at the end of the day, the most important thing that you should focus on is your input. Like, how much action are you actually taking on a daily basis? And I would say before we even talk about anything, that's where I wanted to start, because results, you know, how many times do I say this? The struggle is guaranteed. The results are not. So you have to be patient in waiting for whatever, you know, materialistic goal or whatever you're looking for, and focus on the actions that will get you there, and find joy and start to fall in love with those actions and the process that it's going to take to get you there. So I'll start with that. I think, yeah, Brad, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
You talk a lot about how do I get the feeling of whatever I want to get. And so your question, the question asked, it suggests that you don't have a feeling that you want. You feel overwhelmed. You feel that you're not going to be in a situation that has XYZ with not having a boss. Attaching yourself to that situation that is results-based is going, you basically made a deal with yourself not to feel joy, happiness, fulfillment until you reach that end state, which is not 100% within your control. Now, if I think you do the right things on a long enough timeline, you will get what you want. But right now, you don't know what that timeline is. And so if you are going to play the game to wait to feel the way you want to feel until that thing happens, you are setting yourself up to feel like shit for a long time. And so instead of focusing on what it is that you want, let's take a step back and let's focus on what type of feeling do you want to have. Regardless of what situation you're in, you want to feel fulfilled. You want to feel joy. You want to feel a sense of progress. You want to feel a sense of freedom. And so you need to create those feelings for yourself, regardless of the situation you're in. And how do you do that is by attaching those emotions to feeling successful for taking the actions that will get you there. You can even feel freedom in the moment of taking the action that you know will lead to you not having a boss. Find freedom in that you get to take that action. Don't find freedom in not having the boss. Find freedom in spending the extra hour after work on the side hustle, on the business that will get you to that freedom, the contextual freedom you're talking about in the future. You can be free right now in your mind, knowing that you can take the action that will get you to where you want to go. And so that's the freedom you need to have right now. And immediately you're going to start to release the suffering that you felt for waiting for this freedom that you are building for yourself in the future.
Also, you said that your dream is to own your business and never have to answer to a boss. So I would challenge you to do this. Maybe this is an audience exercise early in the episode, but this is what I would challenge you to do, Blake, and anybody else listening that's in a similar situation. Since a goal without a timeline is just a dream, which is what you told us you have is a dream, you need to set a timeline on when you are going to start your business. And I would suggest that you do it today. I don't care what you're doing. If you have a job, if you're in a 9-to-5, if you're in a graveyard shift job, whatever you're doing, I would suggest that you start today, because all it takes is you're not going to know how to do. My feeling is that maybe you have not started your business yet because you don't know what to do and you have all these limiting beliefs that you feel like maybe you need help. What I would say is this: none of us know what the hell we're doing when we start businesses. And the way that we figure it out is by taking one step forward and the next step forward after that, and not knowing what the hell is going to happen. Yes, we're building with the end in mind and we have the goal and the vision and the dream clearly defined, but we have absolutely no clue how we're going to get there until we start taking one step at a time on how to get there. So I would suggest that you define extremely clearly what it is that you want. Yes, it's clear that you want to have your own business without a boss, but get even clearer. What kind of business? How much money do you want to be making? How many hours do you want to have to work a day? How many, what are you going to be doing on the day-to-day basis? Get extremely clear on what you want. Set a timeline for when you're going to start today, when you're going to do your first, whatever your business is. Let's say you're starting a window washing company. Like, when is the first day you're going to go knock on doors to find clients for your window washers? When are you going to buy the window washing cleaning? All the things that are required that you know how to do already, put a date on those. And the things that you don't know how to do, when you get to that bridge, that's when you'll cross it. And by taking this first step forward, it will give you a little bit more awareness of, I've talked about this before, of even what to ask when you get to a point that you don't know what to do. So I would challenge you to, just to recap, get extremely clear on what it is that you want, get extremely clear on how long it's going to take you to get there, and get extremely clear that you need to take the first step today.
I think something cool just happened here. We talked about last episode the idea of holding two conflicting ideas in your head at the same time. That's part of being a mindset mogul, is you need to recognize life lives on a continuum. And so I just talked about start creating a feeling for yourself that when you take the action that you're going to feel successful. Just because you do that, it doesn't relieve you of the duty to yourself to get 100% clear on what needs to happen, figuring out what those action steps are and taking them. Those actually go together extremely. Like, you can't actually do the second one without doing the first one. You need to know what the actions are so you can start feeling good when you take them. And so basically take our advice in reverse order here. Do exactly what Josh said, because Josh was right. The question has a level of ambiguity to it. Rip the ambiguity out of your situation and recognize you've got this high level idea that you don't want to have a boss anymore. Get extremely clear on what that means. And then when you start taking those steps, then attach a feeling of success, fulfillment, joy when you're taking those steps. So throughout this whole process, you are building a happier, better version of yourself for just doing the process, which at the end of the day, the moment you don't have a boss anymore is going to be a single moment in time. And sure, it will lead to better things. Like you may like, or it'll be easier to like your life on the other end of not having a boss and to answer to somebody. But guess what? I guarantee then you're going to have to answer to customers. You're going to have to answer to employees. You're going to have to answer to investors. You realize you get to the other side of the fence and things aren't quite as green as you thought they might be. You're just going to adjust to your new normal. And so to fix that problem for your entire life, you need to fall in love with the process. The end result doesn't fucking matter because when you get there, you're just going to hit the reset button after 6 weeks. Your whole mind's going to reset to what that new normal is. It's going to find new problems if you haven't trained yourself to love the process. And so use this opportunity right now, this moment, to make the change, to start loving the process instead of waiting for the result to make you happy. Because when you get there, there's just going to be another grass is greener scenario. Josh, sorry for putting my hand in front of your face.
Dude, it's funny you're talking about loving the process. Number one, we just talked about this on the last episode a little bit, and it's true. You have to fall in love with the process. And I'm going to give you a personal example. So when I fell in love with, for example, right, I decided I wanted to quit my job and I started just watching like YouTube videos on Facebook ads. And after I would learn some stuff on Facebook ads, I would feel joy. I would feel fulfillment. I would feel that feeling of success because all of a sudden I just learned something in a 10-minute video that I didn't know before. And I felt there was power in that. Like all of a sudden I felt like I had this ability to do something I'd never had the ability to do before. That's on a micro scale of creating that feeling, right? But on the macro scale of what Brad's talking about, of like once you quit your job, yes, you're going to feel really happy, but then there's going to be some other scenario where the grass is greener. I have that exact same issue in my own life, right? Like the day that I quit my job was one of the greatest days of my life. I remember driving that day, listening to this song, and I was tearing, crying, just being like so fucking happy. And sure enough, I was in love with the process at the time, and I was very appreciative of it. Flash forward a couple years, and I found myself just getting, a little frustrated with my current, lifestyle and how much work I'm doing and all this stuff. And I now take a second when I feel those feelings, because those feelings are never going to go away. I don't care who you are. But now I take a second when I'm feeling like that and I reflect on two things. Number one, falling in love with the process. I think about how I have to love what I'm doing right now in order to get where I want to go, in order to, the things that make me frustrated are like, oh, I'm not making enough money yet. I don't have X, Y, or Z yet. Like it's kind of materialistic when I really think deep down about it. And I fall back into, okay, well, I have to love this process right now, because if I love this process, I will be able to get to X, Y, or Z in the first place. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if I get to X, Y, or Z, because if I love this process, that is the most important thing, is falling in love with the process and enjoying what I'm doing on a daily basis. But I forgot what I was going to say. I had a great point to make and I totally forgot. So talk, and I'm going to interrupt you when I think of it.
I'll call out the beautiful irony that exists in, if you want to get what you want, you have to fall in love with the process. But in falling in love with the process, it actually matters way less for you to get to what you want to. But you're going to get there anyway, and you will be happy when you get there. But yeah, recognize you can start winning today if you make this mindset shift from I want this result to I love this process. And that ultimately is you setting yourself up to build a life that you want in each new moment right now. So how can you make a quick change, Blake, is start building this mindset shift right now, especially when you view these times as tough and you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you're behind at 30, which you're not, by the way, because like you and I can speak to this. What Josh said is so true. Even like escalating to new levels of success in my own life, like I still want to have 9 figures in my bank account. I do not have that yet, but I'm not going to, and at times I'm like, I struggle with, am I on the path to get there? Am I making the right decisions? Like have the same type of ambiguity and questions around what it is that I'm doing. But I'm training myself when I get caught in those moments to, one, come back to, okay, like, do I have clarity on how I want to get there? I think the answer is yes. 2, am I taking the steps every day to get there? Yes. Start paying attention to that again. Put my focus, my attention on the steps that I'm taking every day to get there, and let that wash out this wanting for whatever this future result is that, this could be 10 or 15 years away. Like, I can't wait for that. Why am I waiting for a moment that's 10 years from now? I should be waiting for the next moment that I get to take the action that gets me there. And so, yeah, honestly, I just started rambling too.
No, I got yeah, dude, that's great. Wait, I thought of it though. So I was saying when I feel in those moments, I think about falling in love with the process. That's the first thing that I do. And the second thing that I do is I go to gratitude, because I think about how I felt 10 years ago. When 10 years ago, when I was 21, I dreamed, this was my dream. What I have right now was my dream. And I don't know if that's the same for you, Blake. I don't know your exact scenario. I don't know if when you were 21, you also had the same dream where you wanted to own your own business. I don't know how that's changed over time, but I'm going to give you my personal example. When I feel like I do in those moments, I go to gratitude and I think about, besides falling in love with the process and thinking about that, I think about 10 years ago, I dreamed of this moment right now, living in a condo downtown, having financial freedom, being able to do whatever I want. Now my dreams look a lot different because I've grown for 10 years and I've developed different wants and desires and, frameworks and ideas about the world. But I still think, so when I think back to how I felt at 21 and how I am now at 31, it makes me think, okay, well, when I'm 41, I'm going to be remembering all these times that I was dreaming of X, Y, or Z. And hopefully when I'm 41, I'll have those things and I'll think back to when I was 31. And when I get in a grass is greener scenario, I'll think back to when I was 31, this is all I dreamed about. And go to gratitude from that sense. So again, I know that was kind of another ramble, but I think about that literally like almost on a daily basis. I think about that. That's how important it is to me. So I thought it was worth bringing up for sure.
Blake, we're making a ramble sandwich for you today, but I think there's great insight packed into that. And we know this because we're living the same life as you. Like, these are things that we deal with every day. And the only difference is we've talked about it enough now that we've got tools that we use.
Awareness
of it, and then develop tools to combat it every day. Because if you don't constantly cultivate or use the tools and keep awareness on it and come back to the fact that I'm in love with the process, your natural inclination is to move to, I don't have what I want. It's a natural order of the brain. That's how evolution developed it. And so these are daily practices and daily things that you have to focus on. And each day that you do it, you'll get better at it. It's a vote for the type of person, the identity that does these things. Every day you slip, you move backwards into the type of person that forgets these things and lives in a state of displeasure and wanting. And so start today on building the identity of a person that values the process and values gratitude. Recognize that the process of loving the process is a process in and of itself. And so the quick change, I think we acknowledge what the quick change is. It's not going to be easy. We know. That's honestly why we do this podcast, because we get a daily reminder in doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, the shit is hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah, that's the best way to end it. The shit is hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
I would say, just to recap, go back to, I don't know, minute 6 or 7 or whatever, and get super clear on exactly what it is you want for your vision, exactly how much time it's going to take you to get there, and exactly what you need to do to take the very first step. I would say that is the audience exercise for today, unless you have anything else to add, Brad.
Love it.
I love how add Brad rhymes. But all right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe on YouTube if you're watching there. Leave us a comment, like the video. If you want your own question answered, you can comment it there or send it into support@mindsetmogul.com. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, please leave us a 5-star review there and give us a follow. We would really, really, really appreciate it. With that being said, thank you guys so much. We will see you in the next one. Take care.